favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next ordinance, 2422, is a, oops, that's not the one I have. Yes, it is. Excuse me, I was reading it wrong. An ordinance to repeal and extinguish funds accounts. This is kind of a housekeeping chore. There's been 3 funds in the auditor's office. It's not been used for several years. Referencing to the sheriff's department, there was donation of the DARE program. There was donations for county boot camp program, and it's Your Choice program. These 3 funds are not being used, and those programs are no longer in existence. So this was to kind of clean the books. Do we have any questions on the second reading? I'll entertain a motion.
Brian Collier makes a motion that we accept ordinance 2024-22, an ordinance to repeal and extinguish fund accounts.
Have a second.
Second.
Been made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion's passed on the second reading. The next ordinance, 2024-23, is once we've kind of cleaned the house on those donations, we've created a donation fund for the sheriff's department. And this is, again, kind of a housekeeping chore. Is there any questions about this motion, this ordinance? I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion approving ordinance number 2024-23, an ordinance to establish donated funds accounts for the SWAT team and Sheriff's Department.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Ordinance 2023 passes on its second reading. Now, let's see what we've got. We have 2 ordinances that are coming from the Planning Commission. The first one is the rezone on Abraham property, 2024. Planning Director.
I'm only here if you have questions.
Thank you. Gentlemen, this ordinance has been in front of you. It was actually received an unfavorable 5-0, I believe, on the change. Do you have any questions?
Did you say favorable?
Unfavorable.
Unfavorable.
That's what okay.
Maybe I went through pretty fast, but it's unfavorable. Well, then I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion that we deny ordinance number 2024-24 on the rezone request from Ag to I-1.
We have a second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to deny the ordinance 24-24. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes, or it's denied 3-0. We have another ordinance, 2024-25, that received it was a change of zoning from ag to residential, and it received a 5-0 favorable. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does anybody have a question about that? I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion we approve ordinance number 2024-25, rezoning it from Ag to R1.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. The only thing I have a question about is how do you say is that Van Rooy?
Van Rooy. Yep.
You know what Van means from? I had a friend that was named Van Bachlen, and they're all Dutch, and the Van means from. Vincent van Gogh was from Go. His family originally was from Rui, I guess. Just for what it's worth.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is ratify emergency proclamation, burn ban. Abby, do you want to speak to that, or we want to go ahead and just, I thought I saw Abby, there she is. Yeah, I don't think, if you have anything to say, it was kind of necessary that we have the burn ban, and I think hopefully this week it'll kind of be,
When's it end? I was looking through. Tomorrow?
yeah, we've got rain coming, so, actually 5 days of rain, so I imagine it will expire, and if it looks like it didn't rain, we'll hear from you, correct? So, to ratify the emergency proclamation means that it'll end in a couple days. We've already kind of extended it, and we'll see if anything's necessary. Any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Howe makes a motion that we go ahead and pass the declaration of the emergency burn ban proclamation.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded that we approve the disaster emergency proclamation of the local burn ban. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And thank you, Abby, for your work. And I went to a weenie roast, I have to say that, but it was in Hendricks County. And I was really feeling very guilty till I found out that they shouldn't have, but they did. So we were ahead of the game. Now, I think you have some things to discuss with us on some grant applications. Hi.
Good morning.
Bless you, little lady.
Good morning.
Yes, we do have a few grants that we're working on and hoping for application approval. The first one is the flood mitigation grant. So this grant, we first worked with Laura Parker to see if she had any goals for flood and flow improvement in the county. We've also worked with the Morgan County Highway Department to see if there were any projects that aligned with this grant as well. We have decided to work with the Highway Department and work on flow improvement through culverts and drainage. This grant amount is for $150,000. It's a 75% match, or 5% match for the county. We intend to make that up through in-kind Morgan County Highway hours worked, as well as any allocated funds they already have for their contracts that may be used to fulfill these projects. It is important to know for this grant that it cannot be used for any repair or replacement of culverts or anything already existing. So this would be improvements to things that we have in place or new projects. So the Highway Department will choose based on reports that they have and studies that they've done on flow in the county. Do you have any questions?
Anyone have any questions?
Nope.
I always like to see departments work together. It's always sweet. This is
Absolutely.
the Highway Department on drainage issues, which is always a concern in our county. I'll entertain a motion on this grant.
Kenny Howe makes a motion that we approve the grant for Morgan County EMA to also work in conjunction with the Highway Department for 2024 flood mitigation grant in the amount not to exceed $150,000.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the grant with the Homeland Security for working on drainage. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Good luck. Next grant.
Thank you. The next grant I have is the BRIC grant. This is Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities. This one, again, is in the amount of $150,000, also a 75-25% county match. So for this one, we use the MHMP to assess different projects and areas that we might see fit for this grant, and decided that the best use of county funds and for this grant right now would be to put that towards our tornado siren project, to have more notification throughout the county in areas that don't currently have it and would be needing it. So with this, instead of putting in 2 tornado sirens as we have budgeted for next year, we're hoping to do 5. With this grant, we'd like to put in a 3-stack in the Hinsdale area between Martinsville and Paragon, a 5-stack at Low Gap Road, and a 10-stack between A&A and Paragon area.
Gentlemen, have any questions?
The county fund, or the county match for this one would be through the budgeted funds that we already have for the tornado sirens for 2025.
Okay. Pardon?
That was my question, where's the 25% coming from?
Yeah, where was it? I didn't.
It's already budgeted in the.
Oh, it's already budgeted.
siren
Correct.
project.
It's slick, all right. Yeah, there was, well, that's fine. We don't have the 25%.
Yep.
But the council does, or you've already got it. All right, all in favor of the motion, say, did we have a second?
Kenny Hill makes the motion that we approve the 2024 BRIC grant for EMA in the amount not to exceed $150,000 as well.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have a third one.
Yes, finally, we have the 2024 EMPG salary reimbursement grant. This grant will be in the amount of $44,827.62. There will not be a county match. This is just what's coming from the state.
We have any questions, gentlemen, on this grant?
Brian Carter makes a motion that we accept the 2024 EMPG salary reimbursement grant up to the grant amount of $44,827.62.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for the grant of $44,827.62. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 3-0. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me check the paperwork here. Next item I have on the agenda is the smoking area resolution. I think we're just going to, that's not in front of us yet, but I don't think, correct?
Yeah, you should have a copy that Deb printed for you this morning that we're taking no action on today. It's just to get it in front of you guys. That way at your next meeting, you can be ready to take some action on it. So
All right.
take a look at it, see if it provides the clarity and intent that you all set forth. And if so, then we can handle that at the next meeting.
Okay.
So in terms of putting this together, hello, sorry, a little tardy today. So in terms of putting this together, it would, there's a designated smoking area already in the parking lot. And it's intended to allow you to have additional smoking areas as the commissioners see fit at your discretion in the future. It would eliminate the concerns that we have in terms of people smoking in close proximity. I mean, the 8-foot rule is quite statutory, but that still creates a situation where there's an awful lot of people smoking, in a kind of a one-way in, one-way out situation. We also included vaping. The reason we included vaping in there is because the health effects of vaping or breathing in the vapors that someone else expels has not yet been tested. It's too early for that. And so this would take just this property. You're not declaring it on other Morgan County properties. It's just the property we sit here with the administration building and the judicial campus. Some of the things for the commissioners, I just put some things out there in terms of enforcement. There would be a verbal warning to start with. Anybody who violated after a verbal warning, it would be an infraction. And then there's an escalating fees for infractions. And one of the issues that Josh and I are still working through with input from you all, should you share that today, would be who would enforce it.
Sheriff would?
I think the sheriff's office can enforce it. I think we could,
That'll be high on our priority.
Commissioner Collier could sit out there in front of the door in all of his spare time.
I second that.
Well, everyone should know that the boys meet on the second floor. Smoking in the boys' room.
Smoking ain't allowed in school,
That's right.
right?
To the words of the song, and you'll find them.
But I mean, it certainly is within your authority to declare this to be a non-smoking campus outside of a designated smoking area. The devil may be in the details, and we may have to start this and see how that goes.
Yeah, and generally, it is not that big of a problem. The employees who have typically been the ones who have done that have all been extremely gracious, and they've already started moving. I don't foresee it being a real issue, and it's really not an issue with the public.
Thank you.
So take a look at it, and we can talk about it some more at your next meeting.
Most of our employees know that vaping is a form of smoking, right? And that sounds, I've had people argue with me that vaping is not smoking. I still don't want it in my lungs. So, okay, so we'll re-entertain that later?
Want to act on that now, or you want to wait till next meeting, or do you want to take first reading? So,
I think it's probably premature on this one to go on first reading, because I think that the enforcement mechanism needs to be added to the ordinance based off the comments that Commissioner Collier
So we'll
made
just
today.
put this at the next meeting? Is that what I hear?
Yes.
I don't make the rules, Commissioner.
Yeah, I was,
That would be
I think that would be
my
wise.
suggestion, so that you can ponder it.
I think we'll ponder, and I appreciate the pondering opportunity, and I appreciate the material to ponder. How's that? Thank you, Ann, for putting this together and
Is that first reading?
necessary.
Don't need anything.
See what happens in cold weather. So our action from the board is we've heard it,
Heard it.
it's
Move
been
on.
introduced. Is that consensus on that? Gentlemen?
Yes, I'm fine.
All right, thank you. We'll bring her up at the next meeting, which is what, the 15th,
18th.
18th? Okay.
18th.
The next item is with the Paragon Volunteer Fire Department agreement.
Yeah, I'll give you a little backstory on that. As you all are well aware, and I'm sure some of the public is as well, we have had EMS personnel down in their volunteer department for some time. The state fire marshal did shut that down so that we couldn't be there full-time anymore. So we spend some time in the day down there. At nighttime, we have to be back at headquarters. We've been, Brent Worth, one of our directors, has been working with Will, Paragon Volunteer Department, to we can get our people housed back in that facility as we move into winter. And so they are going to spearhead some renovations. They're going to share the cost. Ann is preparing a lease addendum so that we can also participate in some of that reconstruction to the tune of $2,500. But that should get us able to be down there full-time so we can respond more quickly to that part of the county. So that'll be at your next agenda, but that's the track that we decided was best, was the lease addendum.
Obviously, we want to hear any concerns, but the idea is to remodel a 16 by 10-foot storage area to provide sleeping rooms that would allow Morgan County to schedule and maintain ambulance at the station at Union Street in Paragon for 24-hour shifts. The fire department has agreed, meaning the volunteer fire department at Paragon, has agreed to provide the labor and materials in exchange for a one-time $2,500 contribution to the project. We have an existing lease from 2017 and would propose to do this via a lease addendum that shows that we're making this one-time payment for that and that all other terms of the lease remain the same. The Paragon Fire Department has agreed to provide proper construction, electrical updates, smoke and carbon monoxide alarms, and HVAC, egress, et cetera, to be suitable for a living area as compared to a storage area. This should be completed here by mid-month.
Thank you. So we'll be looking at that on the 18th.
Yep.
It sounds like necessary, and glad to see they're working together for relief of a problem. Next item on the agenda is our fuel hedge resolutions.
Yeah, so this is something that we have done once before. This will be our second year, should you gentlemen choose to move forward participating in this program. And so give kind of a brief overview. There's a handful of ways that the county gets gas. We buy it in bulk for the highway department. That does a lot of their service. We do occasionally have our sheriff's department and EMS facilities filling up there now. But the other way is at the pump. And so the state kind of takes the bull by the horns and they lead the charge. But they provide, it's just really a risk mitigation measure so that we can hedge the volatility of fuel prices so that if we see a big spike in prices at the pump, we can use some options contracts to keep that from affecting our total budget dollars. We can only hedge the portion we buy we can't do what we buy in bulk because essentially we've already locked in that price and mitigated that risk, and then they look at it as speculation, not as hedging. And so we are pretty conservative in how we do it. We're only hedging about 40%, but that's kind of big picture what the program is. Before you is a resolution saying, yeah, we want to participate. And there's also an exhibit which won't be finalized until the state starts to get numbers. And so last year, what you guys did is say, yes, we passed this resolution, and myself and the attorney can work together with the state to finalize the qualified entity agreement, fill in prices and all those things. Until we say, yes, we want to move forward with the qualified entity agreement, we can always pull back if the contract prices come in higher than we anticipated. We are not obligated to proceed, but this is the next step. We got these resolutions from the state last week, and just because of the way the time frame works with the year, if you guys choose to move forward, we need to take action on that resolution today.
When does this have to be signed by?
The resolution today, if we want to move forward. The
Can we wait
qualified
till
entity
Can we
agreement
wait till
won't-
Wednesday?
What's that?
Can we wait till Wednesday on hedging fuel prices?
Sure.
I'll leave it at that. I think this protects us. I think this is a good idea. That's why we did it last year. And helps us in case we get socked with something that budget-wise would call for a rainy day to back it up, and that's sad.
Yeah, and to be clear, we don't want to make money on this. This is
No.
essentially akin to an insurance policy. So we make money, things are not going the right way.
We make money on this, we're losing a lot of money everywhere else. Brian Kyer, are you looking for a motion today?
Yes, on the resolution. And
Do we
if-
have a resolution number?
in your motion, I would appreciate if you would give Ann and I the authority to finalize the qualified entity agreement with the state treasurer's office.
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we accept Resolution 2024-11-4 and give Josh and Ann permission to finalize the entity. I didn't catch all of that.
Qualified entity.
Qualifying entity.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Resolution 24-11-4 concerning the agreement with the Indiana, a method of I guess you say saving money on the fuel with the Indiana Bond Bank, correct?
Yeah, that's who administers it.
I tried to go through this. I'm glad I was never a lawyer. There was everything in here from seat belts to, I couldn't believe
But
it.
a lot of times lawyers get paid to articulate and tell stories, and you'd be like a millionaire.
That remark.
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion? Oh, we have a second?
Yes.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting that put together. The next item is a, make sure I'm correct here.
ARPA.
Yeah, the ARPA. That's something can you show me what that looked like? Because I thought I saw that this morning, but I cannot.
Subrecipient agreement for the American Rescue Plan Act.
Yeah, I read it, and I can't.
County of Morgan, Indiana, and the city of Martinsville.
Right there.
I've seen it. I just don't know where it ended up in my
It's at
stack.
your kitchen table.
It's probably still there underneath it when I was kicking things around this morning early, or yesterday. This basically is the agreement we're making with Martinsville, correct?
Yeah, so to provide some context for the members in the audience, we have done this same thing with two other communities, Mooresville and Monrovia. We laid out a process for ARPA early on that we wanted to get, the biggest economic bang for our buck that we could. And we also, through our comprehensive plan, as a county, we want more development to be within your municipalities than spread out across the county so we can conserve our natural resources. So one way to do that is to help extend utility services. That's what we've done with Mooresville. It opens up an area for them to do commercial development. With Monrovia, we're funding a study for them to look at their water. And the city has some projects to extend sewer service as well that we're excited to partner with them on. This is the same agreement that you've seen for both other communities. Gary can tell you a little bit about the projects, where they're at. I think Commissioner Collier may have something he wanted to add to that as well.
I'm just excited with the opportunity to help economic growth and help other towns and cities here in our county. Someone asked me, what's in it for us? Well, economic growth, people living here, people working here, and building better and stronger communities. Read a report the other day that people are looking for top 3 things: schools, a place to live, and parks and recreation. And we're working on our next meeting. For all of you who want to stay after this one, is parks and recreation. I'm a firm believer between, even though Indian Creek's on the other side, our kids go over there, Emnitz, Monrovia, Mooresville, Martinsville, and all the Christian schools. I think we have a fair and good educational system in this county, well represented with a broad base of various ways of delivering that education. And so I believe what you're witnessing is more and more people moving here, and I don't think you're going to stop it. I think you just help to shape it and make it the best and concentrate on things that people are wanting, and one of them's amenities and places to live. And so I'll turn it over to Mr. Oaks. It's just, as a commissioner down in this district, it's an honor to be able to help the city to expand their waterways, and that was one of the main objectives of this program when the federal government did this several years ago. Mr. Oaks?
Well, to build on what Commissioner Bryan has just said, you've got to be ready for the growth, and that's what these two projects are about. The extension of I-69 through the county offers a tremendous opportunity for both the county and the city of Martinsville to grow. One of the ways to take advantage of the interstate traffic is growth to the north and the east of the city of Martinsville. We're pretty limited to the west because of the river and the floodplains there, so those two opportunities we have. So over a year ago, the city extended water and sanitary sewer under or across, however you choose to look at it, at I-69 at the north end of town between State Road 252 and State Road 44 onto Faith Church's property to encourage development. Well, it worked. Now there's a 69-acre piece of ground under contract that has 2 separate parcels that connect to State Road 252. They're being purchased by a residential developer that will ignite the growth in that northeast corner of the town. The other obvious area we'd like your help with is to the south. That huge area south of town, southeast side of I-69, you could define it by south from Southview Drive all the way down to Liberty Church Road, so pick up that interchange as well. Martinsville's wastewater treatment plant is already located to the south. We have plenty of capacity. We only run at less than 60% of capacity, so we're ready for that kind of a growth as well. Combined, these two projects will cost $6 million. The request from the county is for the use of the remaining ARPA, $1.5 million of ARPA funds to supplement a city investment of $4.5 million to grow our county. So that's the split of the two. So we had 2 big projects we'd like to undertake to be ready for that kind of growth that we envision happening. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Oaks. Appreciate what we're up to. And I hope the people in the county understand the cooperation, the collaboration that makes this county work. And I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes motion that we pass the sub-recipient agreement for the American Recovery Plan Act between Morgan County and the city of Martinsville in the tune of $1.5 million. And thank you.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for the agreement between our county and the ARPA money and city of Martinsville. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Thank you,
passes.
Mayor, as well.
Thank you very much
Appreciate
for
it.
all the planning you do, Gary. Okay. We have a deferred, is Doree going to tell us about this? This is a state of Indiana deferred compensation matching plan. I went through it, and again, I needed a lawyer to help me out, but you can,
Doree to help you out.
what?
Doree to help you out. She'll straighten you out.
Doree,
So the council this year approved a request from the commissioners to do a $10 matching fund with the, if the employee gives $10, the commissioners will match $10 a paycheck. And so we had the employee portion already set up, which is a 457B. So this is to set up the employer matching portion, which is going to be a 401A. And this is basically a request that goes to the Indiana State Comptroller's Office. They approve it, and it comes back to us, and then we are able to put this starting January 1st. I believe the first paycheck is the 3rd in January. We would be, anyway, the first pay in January, we would be able to start doing this for employees. So this is basically just a request so that we can get this set up and get going on it. So some of the things that we have planned, next week, we have a couple days where we're discussing benefits with employees, and this will be talked about then. It will also be, I'll have a day set up where Nationwide is here and people can come and enroll. We're also have asked to have a day at the sheriff's office and a day up at dispatch so that we can hopefully, and he's willing to go wherever we need to get people signed up and get them ready to receive the match that the county is willing to give to all full-time employees.
gentlemen, have any questions? I think the comptroller's office is in cahoots with the treasury.
You think so? Maybe.
Yeah, just a little.
I think that, was it maybe within the last year that name has changed and became comptroller. I got an informative email about that.
Well, I think it's a good thing for our employees. Do we have any questions from the board?
I do not. I think it's a small benefit, but I think if they learn about it and start utilizing it, and I know Marion County does this and at a higher degree.
I met with a gentleman on Friday, and he said that there are 2 or 3 counties that are starting it now at the same time that we are, about the same amount. So it's starting to catch on.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion.
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we accept the resolution for the State of Indiana Deferred Compensation Matching Plan.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen.
Okay. We have a couple of things from the Highway Department. Justin?
Good morning. The first thing I have for you are a couple of unofficial detour agreements with NDOT. So NDOT is getting ready to start some work on State Road 42, specifically from Crown Point or Crown Center to Little Point area. You guys have a map a couple maps in your packets there. One shows the NDOT official detour for this. So during this project, the NDOT detour is rather lengthy, so we have foreseen that local traffic is going to take some smaller local roads, which cannot be signed as a approved detour because this is a state project. So the state has agreed that if we see damage to those roads during this project, we'll get reimbursed for any repairs that are needed. So I am looking for your agreement and approval to enter into this contract so we can make repairs if needed. Just so you know, we are actually about to receive a reimbursement for this last contract that you guys signed. We had to add some stone to Cook Road. It took a beating during one of their projects, so it was a gravel road, so they reimbursed us to freshen it up, if you will.
On where was that road?
That was Cook Road in the northwest corner of the county. Yep.
Yeah, up there by, well, was it Jack? What's Mr., is that where, right by Hall Road? Is that where we are?
It's in the vicinity, yep, just a little west of there.
Yeah, and that goes up towards there, got it.
Yep.
And this is over by Crown Point?
Same area, so that last one was for the section of 42 just west of Monrovia. Now this second phase is pushing more towards Eminence a little bit, so, yep.
I've been there. Any questions, gentlemen? All right, we need an approval of this agreement? Is that what you're looking for?
Yep, so there's two phases
Or
here.
just a-
They can be both signed under the same agreement here,
They're both out in the same neck of the woods, right?
right next to each other, yep.
Yeah. Let's just do them both.
Yep.
You have any, a motion for those agreements, gentlemen?
Make the motion that we accept the agreement with the state for State Road 42 unofficial detours.
Second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for working with
Thank
the
you.
state. Keep an eye on them. Next item we have is I've got an ambulance and purchase agreement with EMS. Mr. Worth.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So for 2025, we've got an ambulance approved for the budget. We have surplus funds in this year's money to make a deposit on that ambulance. That ambulance is out of the factory already and at the plant, or at the dealer in Holland. So they've got some upfitting to do up there, some chevrons, and it'll be ready for delivery the 1st of January when we can finish paying for it.
That, I'm roughing this out, but we're looking like 330-some thousand for the ambulance?
Yes.
I don't know if people realize that's how much, every time you see one of these suckers going down the road, it's $250,000.
I'm thinking we could get like a fully loaded RV.
Well, when I was a
Style.
kid, there wasn't anything, and then they went to the hearses from the funeral homes, and that wasn't very
That's,
comforting.
yeah, it's not very optimistic.
But I'm so glad to see the EMS program working as it is. And, your leadership is very, you're in Summers, leadership is very, very appreciated.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions about the, this is kind of a request to get it earlier? Is that what I'm hearing?
The ambulance is already completed. We're not requesting we get it early. We're just putting a deposit on it to use the funds from 2024.
Okay.
That way we don't have to expend them all.
Any
for 25.
questions on that request? I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes motion, we approve the additional that they're requesting for 2024 in line item 11384902.0000-0301 in the amount not to exceed $33,103.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thank you, Brent.
keep up the good work. Do we have any other items that I've missed on the new business?
Second page,
None under new.
page,
None under new.
very top.
We still have to go through the old, at the bottom of page 1.
Yeah, I'm still looking at new business.
Yeah, you're good.
We're good on that. We're looking ready for old business, is that correct?
Yes.
Sorry about that, Don.
That's all right. I think we're good to go. We've had the cemetery access. I think we're just gonna, that's been a tabled motion. I think we need to just move that to 2025. Is that correct?
Yes.
So,
That's fine. We'll move it
Kyer
or
makes a
I'll put it-
motion that we
If we
table
come-
that to 20.
If we come up with a solution sooner, I will get it back on the agenda. But I
okay,
think
right,
that
let's
would
just
be
take it off till it
Yep.
comes back for a while, and we're hoping that'll be in 2025.
Make a motion that we sunset it until it comes back up.
good. Agreed.
That'll work.
That's my motion.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. We also have a AT&T contract. Zach, you want to speak to that? Zach Worth from the Hill.
So what took so long is we were just waiting for some additional language to be added to the contract. That language has been added. I've looked over the contract on it. Everything looks fine to me. I've also sent it off to Ann and Josh to review. I don't think we found any issues with that. It is budgeted for, so if you have any questions on it, I can speak to those.
So this is just an addition on the contract we had, is that what I hear?
What was presented before was the quote. Once we got that signed, we worked towards the contract, and that's
This
what's
is what
presented
was-
there. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Do we have any questions? Ready to, I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Howe makes a motion that we approve the AT&T Next Gen 911 PSAP solution agreement.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, guys.
Next item on the agenda was we had the Purdue Extension Agreement was brought for us, and there were some questions that we weren't sure about, and we've since got those corrected. Oh, Rena, you want to, I'm sorry, make you have to come to see us again, but, or,
Good to see you.
good to see what's going on.
The only thing I can say is it's a 3% increase from last year.
You had that in the, you already had in your request for 2025, right? So 3%. So we were just not sure about what was going on, so thank you for explaining it to us.
And if I can introduce, our newest employee is Rachel Piney, which she's not new to the county, but she's now a full-time educator with Purdue Extension.
Where is she? Hi. Hello, Rachel.
Yeah.
We're so glad to have, I tell you, that the Extension Office is a blessing. Purdue's program with, that's gone back to when the Depressions, when they started Extension,
1914.
1914, even before the Depression. I thought it came about as a result of some of the New Deal, but it was before that even. Wow.
We have not had 3 educators since 1998, so we're pretty
That's
excited.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Great program. Thank you so much.
Kenny Howe makes a motion we approve the extension contract for Purdue with Morgan County.
With what?
Approve the extension contract for Purdue with Morgan County.
I'm sorry. Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Got some funding requests from the Highway Department. Eddie Fisher, Highway Superintendent. Hi, Eddie.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up?
Everything is already pre-budget, it's in our budget.
Now you did it.
Not actually asking for every,
Mike.
just back up instead of moving it. I'm not asking for anything that's not in our budget, it's already budgeted, so. We're in need of a dump truck. It takes about a year to get this. If we don't request it now and get things on the works, we're gonna be waiting another year. So our previous dump truck has our oldest one. Get the right one, that's for the next 215,000 miles on it. It has had, rusted pretty bad because of the salt and snow in the winter. It will be rolled back and become a backup dump truck, because right now, if we have a truck break down in the wintertime, we only have one truck for a backup. We have 2 trucks down, we've got about 8 to 10 miles of road that's not getting touched until we get another truck, which is gonna happen this year because we don't have a backup. The prior administration had sold 4 of them, so we don't have backup dump trucks right now when something goes down in the winter. So the request is to move forward into the, now, so we can have this truck by this time next year. Like I say, it's in the budget. The other truck that would become a backup, the reason we need a new one, if it breaks right now, we just had this problem. Probably 6 to 8 years ago, it was deleted, which means the emissions were taken off. People won't work on it. We found a select few people that will touch this truck, but it's basically, it's not good for anybody. You have to have that to be on the road. So anyway, need that. Like to move forward with being able to make that purchase. The next thing would be a Gradall. We have money in the budget for this year for a Gradall to go ahead and move forward. It is a 2013 that we're wanting to replace. We have put repairs. Here's one for this year alone, $3,250. $21,390. We had a repair that should have been done about 3.5 years ago that they decided not to put that kind of money into it, which has now caused it to, the hydraulic pump is completely out of it. It won't even lift the bucket off the ground. If that repair would have got made, it might not have been in that situation, but it's there now. They've said Southeastern Equipment thinks it's going to be between $80,000 to $100,000 to make that repair. The machine on the value of a trade is only between $5,000 and $6,000. I looked, you can find it on auction right now, the same type of machine that sold for $42,000 that was working, that somebody did sell one for $42,000. As far as a trade-in, they won't give you anything because these are usually sold to government agencies, and when they look for one, they don't want to use one, they want a new one, so they don't give you much on a trade. So the plan would be to move this thing to an auction, get what we can out of it, because I guarantee it's worth more than $5,000, but looking forward to you guys' blessing to move forward on making this purchase and do it before the end of the year with the funds we already have appropriated for
So
that.
we already have money within the line items to cover this.
Yes. If not, I might be a few thousand short, but I'd like to take this money and we're right there.
Sound like a necessary item.
Yeah, this one has over 5,000 hours on this. And the one that I found on auction that it had the same amount of hours. We also have another, we have 2, obviously, we're using all over. If we don't move now on this, it's a matter of time before the next one happens, and then we're gonna have a big expense times 2, then it'll be times 3, because the next one in the fleet has over 5,000 hours on it already. So,
And you're gonna replace it with another one that's a
Another one.
GDW3 single axle?
same thing, yeah.
Yep.
They get used a lot, so can't change the pipes and do the roads without.
Any further questions for Eddie? I guess the motion would be to proceed.
Kenny Hill makes a motion to let the highway department proceed with the purchase of a new dump truck, retaining the old one as a backup, as well as getting a new GDW3 single axle Gradall.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to keep us rolling. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie, for
Thank you,
your
guys.
good work and good record keeping and good prudent use of the taxpayers' money.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it very much. We have a next item on the business, in our business is the appointment list, which is going to be coming up the first of the year. But I think it's time to start reviewing it. Am I correct? Is that the only item we have left? On this appointment list, I think we need to divide this up and start working through it so we can start here with new faces and new people that we need to have. And replacing some of those that are up for reappointments. We can do that in an administrative meeting, but I just wanted that in front of us so we can start looking at what we need to do. We do have, do we need to do that appointment for the Regional Sewer Board? Next meeting, okay. I have a person, I just say, we have a person ready for Hendricks, or from, well, we need one from Madison, we need one, we need two, correct? And we've got them kind of lined out, but we'll do that next meeting. Okay. Do we have any other business for the county?
I'm going to make a couple comments in my silly, goofy way. I'd like to go on the record and thank the Purdue Extension. They do excellent work. They work with kids, they work with adults, and their record's a whole lot better than this year's Purdue football record.
That is.
Oh, hurt him.
Truth hurts. Sometimes we get questioned on property tax and income tax, and all you got to do is spend a day at a ambulance barn and see how many runs they take. I know I went on 6 runs yesterday, and they're getting in a $330,000 bus to be transported to St. Francis Mooresville, IU Bloomington. There's a definite cost there, and so I challenge people, if you want to do some cost cutting, if you remove that service, well, if that was one of those 6 runs was your loved one. I will never vote for that because I've been stuck on the end as a fireman without a bus to put them on a diabetic that was slipping into a coma, so that he had lost his gag reflex, and I could not give the oral glucose, which I am qualified to do, but I could not start an IV, and I'm not doing that. And thank goodness the guy that was with me is a big horse, and he helped me pick the guy up because I was gonna clock off and put him in their personal car and drive them. But now we have, not perfect, we never will. If you need, Murphy's Law when it comes to emergency services, if you need 2 ambulances, you only have 1. And when you get the call out, you need 8, and we only got 6, so that happens. And last but not least, back on the ARPA sub-recipient agreement, I'd like to go on the record, and I don't care who knows it at this point in my life, but Mayor Costin and Commissioner Collier do not always get along. But yeah. But I'm going on the record that everyone knows that Debbie and Audrey make sure that we work our differences out before we part ways. And it goes back to what we did up at Mooresville, what we did in Monrovia, and what we did today with Martinsville. It is kind of neat, having been in a capacity of some type up on this for going on 30 years, to see the working relationships that we have within our community. And I can tell you that we've not always had that relationship. And I can also tell you, even today, there's some times where it gets a little sticky, but it's amazing we've, up to this point, knock on wood, we work it out. And it makes me excited to be part of this. Yes, sir? That's right. That's right. So I just wanted to touch on some of the things that came before this board today, because I would classify that for the good of the county. Maybe not the Purdue football. Because I did not have a Purdue degree, but I did pay for 2 of them.
Well, that's sort of for the good of the county right there. Do we have any other for the good of the counties? David, you've been having some weed rustling. I've used David a couple times this year, probably saved me a cow or two because there's some toxic stuff coming in our pastures that people aren't aware of.
Yep.
David is.
So I'm David Mao, I'm president of the
Today.
Morgan County Native and Invasive Plant Partnership. In the month of October,
I think
we have conducted 5 weed wrangles in the county,
Appoint him today.
working at trying to improve the natural habitat in our public areas. So we've done one in Jimmy Nash City Park, we did one in Burkhart Creek, we did one at Old Town Waverly Park, Fred and Dorothy Mayer Nature Preserve, which is a Silty property, and then we did one at Ravinia State Forest. So we've got those 5 completed. We worked on winter creeper, burning bush, calorie pear, autumn olive, bush honeysuckle. So we're trying to control these invasives that are spreading around the county. So thanks very much for the support.
Thank you,
Thank you.
David. And for the ones that don't know the acronym for CILTA, it's Central Indiana Land Trust up off of Observatory Hill Road. It's a nice little place, nice place to walk. Little bit of hills up there to go up and down, but it's really a nice piece of property that CILTA has saved for us, so.
It's unique in Morgan County because it has slightly acidic soils, and so you'll find the chestnut oak and blueberries growing there that are more typical for Brown County, not Morgan County. So that's why it's a unique nature preserve area.
Very, very nice piece of property.
Thank you very much. We had one other item on actually on our appointments that I omitted. I thought it's a reappointment for, I think it's a reappointment. I thought we appointed him last year. He wasn't, pardon? I'm sorry, still on.
They're saying that can be held on to now.
Okay.
I just thought it had to be since it was out by itself.
He's on there now, we'll just reappoint him in January. Okay.
My bad.
No, it's no problem.
Well, I just thought since he was outside of the other 500
Yeah,
people.
well, I
we
saw that on
appointed.
there, I couldn't figure out, that's Bud, and I thought he was already on it.
Almost makes you wonder if Deb's messing with us.
Any other items for the good of the county? Well, the clerk's busy, tomorrow she'll be busier, the line is long, and the voting is heavy, and all those are good things. And how do you describe what's the picture of the democracy working? We're very fortunate to live where we are. I know there's a lot of rancor and a lot of yelling at each other, but I hope when it's all over, we just become like we always are, working for us, the people. So, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Had 2 motions, I'll take them one as a second. All in
Second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for being here, folks.